Today I'm driving something a little different. It's a performance diesel Golf. So the GTD is not just like a diesel, it's a 2-liter diesel engine, much like, the Golf 2-liter TDI that they make. But specifically it's been built as a performance engine. It's a performance diesel Golf, which is like a really interesting concept. So the GTD is a performance diesel, and it's the only performance diesel that Volkswagen make. But it's not the only performance diesel in the Volkswagen group. Like the Audi group, the SQ5 comes to mind. Different engine, but the SQ5 is a performance diesel SUV. So there's a little bit of knowledge and experience here at making performance diesel engines. For Volkswagen, making the GTD is about delivering a performance car with subcompact economy. So what they're trying to do is say, look, you can have the performance, you can have a car that goes like the clappers. It doesn't quite go like the clappers, but it's not bad. But you can still maintain really, really good economy. You don't have to bleed money every single time you step on it, which is getting better with performance cars. But 10 years ago, take for instance the S4 that I own, when I'm gunning that thing, I'm at 16, 17 liters per 100. This thing, you can get it down to 5.5, 6 liters per 100 quite easily. So the GTD then essentially is the GTI of diesels. You get the naming convention, GTI, GTD. And it has a lot in common with the GTI and the Golf R. Specifically around design, it looks almost identical to GTI, just missing sort of all the little red bits that the GTI had. But design-wise, it's definitely different from sort of 1 liter, the 1.4, and even the 2 liter regular Golf 7s. Empowering the GTD, they've not taken the standard 2 liter diesel engine and just bumped up the power. They've actually developed an entirely new 2 liter diesel engine. And this is a good thing. I think it's never a bad idea to kind of take something that works really well and redevelop it and make a new one and improve it, make it better. So we've got 130 kilowatts and 350 newton meters coming out of the front here. So the GTI would produce the same amount of torque at about 350, but it would produce a bit more power. So the GTD is not quite as sort of performance hungry as the GTI is, but it's significantly more powerful and more performance orientated than a regular diesel Golf would be. It feels more sporty, both in sort of just looking at the car and being inside it, as well as the actual drive. It feels like it's got a bit more sort of oomph to it. And it's a bit of like a strange feeling, I'll be honest, driving a diesel that for diesel purposes actually revs quite high, up at about 4,500, 5,000 RPM. But just really, really goes. It doesn't feel like a diesel. It's so easy to make a diesel feel like a tractor. And this feels nothing like a tractor at all. Of course, the minute you kick it into sport mode, that economy figure of 5.8 becomes a distant memory. So Volkswagen claim a couple of things. One, they claim that this can do 0 to 107.3 seconds, and further can do sort of 80 to 120, which is your overtaking bracket, in about 7.5 seconds. And that's mostly thanks to the 350 newton meters of torque that this thing produces, which is a considerable amount of torque. The other thing they claim is a 5.5 litre per 100 average fuel consumption. The last couple of days when I had this in sort of, after I reset the computer and I had it in economy mode, I did get down to 5.8. So I'd imagine with a bit of careful driving, that is actually quite possible. But the exterior and the interior of this car share a lot with the GTI and the Golf R. So, for instance, it's got this really big computer screen in the middle here. It's a 9-inch screen. It's gesture controlled. As you move your hands closer to it, it picks up that your hands are moving, and there are different things that pop up, and you can do different things with your hand on the screen. VW have taken a really good-looking car, added a bit of a sporty kind of look to it. They've taken an incredibly well-built and ergonomical and comfortable interior of a car, beefed it up with a whole bunch of really cool tech. It's got the big sort of digital dial in the center here as well. And then what they've done is they've put an economical performance engine in it. So this car actually becomes an interesting combination of like all the best bits that VW do. And that's quite clever, I think. So at this point, I'm pretty impressed with this GTD. It's just all the best bits of a Volkswagen kind of put together in a neat package that allows you to have a bit of fun with performance. Acceleration's great. You know, like, the reality is, yes, you can get cars that accelerate faster. Yes, you can get cars that have a higher top speed, produce more power, etc., etc. You get to the speed limit in a couple of seconds, and unless you're planning to do really high-end speeds, and this can do north of 200 anyway, unless you're planning to do really high-end speeds, this is all the car that you could possibly need. And it's got the 7-speed, it's got a 6-speed DSG gearbox in it, and that's a fantastic gearbox. Once again, the best bits Volkswagen make have been put together in this car, and it is phenomenal. And I'm cruising in traffic. I've gone back to normal mode, sort of drive. It doesn't seem to have a sport. So it's got sport and drive. The minute you kick it into drive, it changes gears, drops the revs a little bit, and that economy figure gets well under control again. Although, having said that, 3 or 4 years ago, I drove the Golf GTI, and I drove it like GTI was intended to be driven, and I was averaging about 12.5 liters per 100. This thing I've been driving all morning as a performance car is intended to be driven, and I'm averaging 7.5 liters per 100. That's a huge, huge difference in fuel economy. Not like I can say the GTI was twice as good as this was. Probably was a bit more fun. There was more bang and sizzle out the exhaust at the back. But this car has been quite a pleasure to drive without fearing and worrying about running out of fuel every 5 minutes. Volkswagen have done a great job in combining their best bits into a car that's quite reasonably priced too. It comes in at about 500,000 Rand before you add any extras. This one's got like the big ass. No, this one doesn't have the panoramic sunroof. This has a normal sunroof. You get the option to go from panoramic sunroof. Obviously that screen is a bit extra. There's like a couple of extra bits. You probably spend an extra 50 grand on it. But the GTI is 600. The Golf R is 650. So this is slightly cheaper and just as good to drive. Probably more practical to drive as an everyday car. Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe below. I'll try and make many, many more car videos. Every time I can get my hands on a good car, I'll make one.